What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here for a read. As a part of today's video, we're diving into all of the latest updates going on in the Cardano ecosystem. There's been so much in the past couple of days, if not weeks. I've been struggling to keep up, so I'll be trying to put out some of these videos with more frequency and just trying to speed through some of these updates, given the fact that there's just so much to cover. First and foremost, I want to give you guys a brief update surrounding Project Catalyst and the kickoff event, which we had 6 different locations that you could have voted for, and that voting has come to a conclusion, and I want to highlight the winner of that event. Next, I want to talk about Genius Yield and their integration of USDM. I also want to take an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the USDM reserves and exactly how you can verify those every single day. Third, I want to talk about Empowa, a project building here in the Cardano ecosystem, which has gone under my radar, but I just sat down with Greg, their chief operations officer, to get a full deep dive and a catch up as to what they're doing. And I want to highlight the rollout in Kenya. Fourth, I want to talk about Tokeo, a brand new wallet, which has just been revealed by the Danketsu team. And they've also got a partnership with a pretty well-known toy manufacturer, which I want to go ahead and highlight here as part of today's video as well. Now, towards the end, I want to talk a little bit about Maestro in their plug and play smart contracts, as well as ZK Fold bringing a Fiat On ramp using ZK Tech or zero knowledge proofs, which was funded by Project Catalyst. Last but not least, we've got Aiken simplifying development here in Cardano, getting a brand new release version. So if you guys are just stopping by Dapp Central for the very first time, my goal is to provide you in the ecosystem with all of the latest news highlights and tutorials for the biggest builders here in this ecosystem. If you do appreciate updates like these, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If you want to take things a step further, consider delegating with the official Dapp Central stake pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. Between now and Epoch 493, not only do you earn your traditional ADA rewards, you also earn the Matera governance token. And I'm also going to be an ISPO partner pool for an additional ISPO. So delegate to Dapp Central. There's going to be a few more tokens coming in. Again, making sure that you still earn your traditional ADA rewards. Let's go ahead and move into the first set of updates surrounding the funding round number 12 for Project Catalyst in the launch city. So we're going to see that Barcelona in Spain has officially won with over 1,200 votes, followed by a close runner-up in Tokyo, followed by Buenos Aires, Argentina. Keep in mind that the cities that you see here will still have their own local workshops, so you can still attend and communicate, gather, and just sort of talk a little bit more about Project Catalyst, how to improve it, and how to take advantage of funding round number 12. I want to go ahead and quickly take a second here to also plug in a Twitter space, which was held by Daniel Rabar, who's the lead and just sort of the front face for Project Catalyst, in which he talks a little bit more about the details in what you can expect for this upcoming funding round. Let's move into the next story, which is surrounding Genius Yield. We now have the onboarding of USDM, the fiat-backed stablecoin, on the order book style DEX. And I just sat down with Matthew Ploman and Dr. Lars Brunez to talk about exactly what this means. One of the biggest things here with the order book style approach is the lower fees and the fact that you are able to put out an order for an exact price. This is a little bit different than some of the AMM protocols where we've seen the price of USDM fluctuating to highs of about 3 to 4 ADA. So if you're looking to be a little bit more capital efficient, definitely go ahead and check out the Genius Yield DEX. In addition, there's also a 3x boost when it comes to their accelerated yield program, which is an incentivized program which allows for you to trade on the DEX, earn points, which are then equivalent or rewarded using their GENS token. I just had Papo here, who was on Twitter, sharing the fact that he's now earned over 31 different tokens from the swaps taking place on the Genius Yield DEX. If you're looking for an opportunity to earn passive tokens, definitely check that out. And again, quick reminder that you do earn a 3x bonus when trading or swapping the USDM stablecoin. Now, since we're already talking about USDM, I want to jump into the C3 or the Charlie 3 portal, highlighting exactly how much USDM we currently have and how you can verify this once per day. So as it stands right now, we've got the number of updates occurring once per day for the USDM fiat treasury. and that's held at a actual bank. So anytime that fiat is added to that bank, that then allows for the USDM team or the Mehen team to actually mint an equivalent amount on chain, vice versa, or conversely, if it's burnt, that amount is removed from the reserves and also removed from on chain. So given the fact that C3 is the Oracle verifier or the Oracle provider for USDM, we can see here that using their portal, which basically breaks down all of their feeds, highlighting how frequently the feeds are updated, the deviations, the update frequencies, and the actual validators that have brought that data on chain, we can use this platform to verify how much USDM is currently on right now, or on Cardano, which currently stands at about 118,000 USDM tokens. So the amount continuing to increase. Now, if you want to go ahead and get access to USDM as more liquidity comes online, you can also jump over to the DEX Hunter protocol. I just took it upon myself to take a look here, and right now there is a pretty big price impact given the low liquidity. So do keep that in mind. Unless you absolutely need the USDM in high amounts, it's probably best to wait until there's more liquidity, unless, again, you're grabbing just a little bit to where it's not going to have a huge price impact. As an example here, I've got 1,000 ADA, which is currently equivalent to $668. But if I want to swap that into USDM as it stands, that would only return me $645. So about a 3% price impact. You're losing on about, 30-ish dollars, which isn't the end of the world, but do keep that in mind. Now, I also want to highlight here that under the details, you can view exactly which DEXs are supported by the trading platform, which is DEX Hunter. And as it stands right now, they are working to integrate the Genius Yield protocol as well as AXO, both of which are order book style DEXs. So as it stands right now, even though there is liquidity on the Genius Yield DEX, right now you can only pick it up here from some of the AMM style protocols, which I believe are currently ViFi, MinSwap, and Wing Riders. That'll wrap it up for updates surrounding USDM and Genius Yield partnering up. I did again sit down with Matthew Plowman not too long ago. Check out that interview. They are working to find partners in the European region in order to distribute their USDM token. And I also actually posed some questions about when we could see other stablecoins coming into the ecosystem as well. Third, we're going to talk a little bit about Empowa. So I just sat down with Greg, their Chief Operations Officer. But if it's your first time hearing about Empowa, they are a project aiming to simplify and provide financial inclusion when it comes to home ownership in the continent of Africa, focusing initially on a rollout in Mozambique, and they've now branched over into Kenya. So what you have here is accredited investors, right, which are businesses, which are able to invest directly with Empowa. The amounts that they invest are given over to building developers in these developing countries, and that is put forth towards inviting brand new leasing or brand new tenants taking a rent-to-own approach. Once they begin to make their payments, the developer uses those amounts to pay back the initial investors, again, providing opportunity for home ownership in these underdeveloped countries where mortgages are not the norm, like they are, for example, in Europe or in the United States. Now, the community does play a role in this, in the fact that they're able to provide a little bit of collateral, which acts as a buffer in the event that the tenants are not able to pay or that there are foreclosures that happen. So check out that interview. It's a really interesting concept here, empowering the entire continent. And it's a huge opportunity in the sense that the housing market is $1 trillion business. So if I jump over here, we've got their Q1 upgrade or their Q1 report, which just came out. And 3 key things to highlight here. Number 1 is their launch in Kenya. They're now going to be modeling their process with 2 homes, with an additional, I believe, 35 coming online hopefully soon in that country. They've also now got the launch of their collateral NFTs, which allow for you to earn a 10% APR by providing funds, which act as that buffer for the building developers. So I'm going to jump in here very quickly. I'll leave the link to this down below. Again, Greg did touch on this during our interview, but it states here that the Empowa team is excited to announce another rent-to-own project in Africa, this time in Kenya. This has seen the team focus their efforts on launching in other markets, and Kenya has been the most ready when it comes to their research. Now, the initial Kenyan launch will include 2 near completion homes with occupancy due in May. So we're expecting tenants to move in relatively soon. Now, the funds for these homes will come from the Cardano Summit NFTs and the team's treasury, and the developer is Brown Cap Capital. The rest of the properties in this development have either been sold or are being retained by the developer for ongoing management. Now, the team will be featuring Brown Cap in additional weeks just to kind of introduce them to the Empowa community and for the Empowa community to become a little bit more familiar with exactly how this builder operates. We've got a really cool screenshot here or picture of the actual property. As you guys can see, relatively modern housing, again, providing a huge opportunity in people or for people in areas where mortgages are not normal. One highlight that I wanted to touch on here was that it states, despite Africa being the 3rd largest economy with one of the most sophisticated financial markets and population of about 53 million people, Kenya only has 27,000 mortgages. So imagine being in a country where there's 53 million people and only 27,000 mortgages. This is exactly where Empowa comes in an area like this where there's less than 0.1% of people with actual mortgages. This again provides them the opportunity to allow for people to become homeowners in a relatively safe and simple way, again, while also providing revenue to the initial investors in the Empowa token community. Scrolling down, we've got some of the team members here from the developing company, and then we've got the launch of their collateral NFT. So it states that the collateral NFT will also go on sale this coming May, and that the NFTs will support collateral for 35 homes in Mozambique. Now, the NFTs will be locked for 1 year, and the amount of NFTs going for sale is 1,000, being sold for 370 EMP, or the Empowa Native Governance Token. At the end of the period, the Empowa team will reward anybody who staked or locked up their NFT for the entire year with 407 EMP, about a 10% APR. Lastly, it states that priority will be given over to their first NFT asset holders, as well as members who hold the Cardano Summit NFT. That'll do it there for updates surrounding the Empowa platform. Next, we've got Tokeo, which has just revealed a brand new Cardano-based wallet. So I'm going to quickly roll this video here, but this basically highlights a new Cardano mobile wallet. So we have Vesper, arguably one of the most adopted wallets, relatively huge here. But with Tokeo, we're now expecting prices and charts. We've also got NFT support here, right? One of the biggest sort of ecosystems within Cardano. We've also got support for custom themes. And then last but not least, on-chain invoices. So a couple of interesting features. I'm really interested in seeing the invoicing and the charts, something that we don't typically get, but we have had platforms, for example, like Tap Tools, which have done a really good job of releasing that. So I wanted to highlight that there, but that's not it. We've also got the Danketsu team, which I believe is the same exact team behind Tokyo, which is now also partnered up with J Corp. So they are America's largest apparel and toy licensor. Clicking in here, we have Shroomy and Bobo, right? So I think this is Shroomy here on the left, and we've got Bobo here on the right. And they will be working with J Corp to actually have plushies minted or created, not minted, right? I'm so used to saying that word here, for anybody who wants to purchase them. So a relatively huge partnership here. And just to put this into perspective, J Corp has basically worked and has had partners when it comes to Star Wars, Disney, Rick and Morty, Naruto, and Dragon Ball Z, just to name a few. So the team will be having a space on the 26th of March at 4 p.m. UTC in order to break down all of that good information. Congrats to the Danketsu team on the launch and partnership. Next, I've got a brief update surrounding Maestro, but before I jump into that, if you are enjoying these updates, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up if it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this breaking down everything in Cardano, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, leave them down below. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to take things a step further and you want to support the channel, consider delegating with the official Dapp Central Stake pool, where you'll be earning ADA as well as the Matera governance token. Let's jump into updates surrounding Maestro. So this team here is an infrastructure platform on Cardano, and they've made it very easy to deploy smart contracts in the ecosystem, with their latest smart contract being a direct swap smart contract. So looking at the graphic there, we have one user who's basically willing to put up SNEC and to trade that in a peer-to-peer manner for 2 NFTs. So this reminds me of something, for example, like Trading Tent, which does just that, allow for peer-to-peer trading. And this is plug and play, meaning that if you want to get access to the smart contract and deploy that on your own white label solution, you can go ahead and do so. Now, keep in mind that the actual platform is a pay-to-play platform. So you do have to pay for a subscription for Maestro, but you can get access to all these smart contracts, with this direct swap being the latest one. Now, this now brings the team to over 25 open source smart contracts, which are available on their official website, which is gomaestro.org. Scrolling down, we've got Sarah, a lending and borrowing platform, which has their smart contract here. We've got a direct swap coming in here, which was audited and developed by Anastasia Labs. We've got smart contracts for privacy payments, aka Ncoins. We've even got the smart contracts, which have been open source for Indigo. We've got the NFT marketplace coming in from jpeg.store, AMM dexes, for example, like MuesliSwap and even MinSwap. And then we've got an additional marketplace there towards the bottom, which is Nebula. So as you can see there, for anybody who's looking to build their own platform without rebuilding the wheel and having to develop a smart contract, you can take advantage of this here. And again, these have all been audited, reviewed, and made sure to be safe before being listed here on their plug and play store by Maestro. Next, we've got ZK Fold. This is a brief update, and I've highlighted this before, but have you ever been in the situation where you want to take your fiat, bring that on chain, or take your ADA and bring that back into fiat? Well, if you have, typically you have to go through something like Coinbase or even something like Binance. Alternatively, you can go ahead and use something like MoonPay, which is a on-ramp, but isn't necessarily an exchange. However, the ZK Fold team and Anastasia Labs and the Ncoin teams are all partnering up to release this particular feature, which is a zero knowledge proof or zero knowledge platform using Cardano smart contracts in order to allow for somebody who has ADA to off-ramp that into fiat, or somebody who has fiat to on-ramp directly into ADA, circumventing any sort of centralized exchange. You can imagine that the way that this will work is that somebody who has ADA on chain is basically going to send that ADA to a smart contract. That's going to be verified, and somebody else who's got fiat will send that to a corresponding fiat-based account, and that'll be verified. And once both parties are verified, then the swap takes place, where whoever sent the ADA, that ADA goes to the recipient's address, and whoever sent the fiat, they're able to get their fiat received from whoever sent it. Hopefully that makes sense. So very similar to the peer-to-peer feature that I just showed off when it comes to Maestro, but I wanted to highlight this here. And again, we're expecting for the initial deployment of the MVP to take place in the latter half of this year. So Q4, we should have a testable product. So I'll be reviewing this and highlighting this in more updates as that comes along. The very last topic I want to highlight for today's video is surrounding Aiken. This is a modern and modular toolkit for developing smart contracts on Cardano, written in Rust, and they've got a brand new release. This is definitely out of my scope, but I want to highlight this here that we are getting more updates when it comes to developer tooling. And as you can see here, this is quite the list. So not only have they fixed a lot of bugs, they've changed some things, and they've also added brand new functionality. That will do it here for today's Cardano Scoop, highlighting everything going on in the ecosystem. If you do appreciate updates like these, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this, breaking down everything going on in Cardano, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me, then leave them down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.